Earlier this year, audiences both in person and virtual bore witness to two incredible events, the Muppet Script and the Scripted Muppet Caper, star-studded live readings of the Muppet Movie and the Great Muppet Caper scripts. On Friday, October 24th, they'll be doing it again with the Muppets Take Scripthattan, this time in New York City. To celebrate this event and to encourage you to buy tickets to the live stream, we'll be chatting with some of the stars of the show in this special podcast miniseries brought to you by toughpigs.com. I am your host, Joe Hennis. Joining me is the producer and director of the show and an old friend of Tough Pigs. It's Matt Wilkie. Hello, Matt.
Joe, hi, everybody. Great to be back.
Thanks for coming back. Always good to hear your voice. And we have two incredible guests on this podcast. First up, he is an actor and comedian who you've seen on Mr. Show, BoJack Horseman, Star Trek Lower Decks, dozens of memorable TV appearances, voice roles, and podcasts. In the Muppets Take Scripthattan, he is Fozzie Bear. It is Paul F. Tompkins. Hello, Paul.
Hello, Waka Waka. Also, Waka.
Wow, all three Wakas.
Yeah.
That's good. That's
this
a good
is
amount
a special
of Wakas.
occasion.
Wow, honored. Next up, you have seen him on Brooklyn Nine-Nine, The Good Place, The Thrilling Adventure Hour, and I believe he's our first podcast guest who's appeared in a King Kong movie. In the Muppets Take Scripthattan, he is Kermit the Frog. It's Marc Evan Jackson. Hello, Mark.
Oh, hello, everyone. So good to be with you.
What a joy to have your soothing tones here on this podcast. I could listen to you talk all day long.
I'm not soothing.
Was that Matt? Matt, was that you who just said that?
That was Matt.
That's me.
So first of all, Mark, I have to tell you, I was a dedicated listener to the Good Place podcast and the Brooklyn Nine-Nine podcast that you did. And I, here on this channel on Tough Pigs, I hosted two podcasts that were really similar. One was covering the Fraggle Rock series, the podcast called Fraggle Talk. And the other one was for the Muppets Mayhem. We called that Muppets Mayhem Backstage Pass. Same thing where we were like bringing in the cast and the crew and talking to them and going over the episode at the same time. I stole it all from you. I stole the entire format. And you were such an inspiration for that show. So I really want to thank you for allowing me to steal that, even though you had no idea I did it.
I had no idea that you did it. And also, I did not create that element of the Good Place, the podcast. That was pitched, and I'm so grateful for it because it was an education for me learning, I mean, as an actor, you work on set, but you're the last one to arrive and you're the first one to leave. And so there are plenty of departments that I had no, interface with that I mean, we see the costumer from time to time, we see hair and makeup and stuff, but like, we don't deeply get into like locations and grip and, that stuff. And so it was really fascinating to get to, have an hour 54 times or whatever to sit down and learn about all these, very cool elements, each one critical to the process.
Super educational and just fun. And also you came into it not just as a cast member, but as a fan of those shows, which was
It's true.
really important to me, of just like hearing how a fan would talk about these things without getting too much into the weeds or not enough into the weeds. Like, it was a really good balance. You did a great job with those podcasts.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
And Paul, you are playing Fozzie Bear in this script. Now, Fozzie is notorious for being like a bad comedian, and you, of course, are absolutely hysterical. I'm not even going to make a joke about it. You're just a really funny human being. What is the secret to being funny at not being funny?
I think it's that you have to believe that you are the absolute funniest. I'm the opposite of Fozzie Bear. Fozzie Bear thinks he's very good, and he is not. I hope people think that I'm good, but I have my own opinions about my comedy.
For sure. So, Ellie, have you done stand up? Like, I know you do a lot of improv, but like, have you done like straight stand up like Fozzie does?
Me personally?
Yeah.
Oh yes, I started in stand up.
Okay.
I started in like right out of high school. I started doing open mics in Philly, and then moved here in 1994 to Los Angeles in 1994. And stand up's always been a part of my life, and took a bit of a break from it. Now, after I say it's always been a part of my life, except for a couple years.
Sure. Yeah.
When I got into improv and started learning improv, I didn't really do stand up for, I want to say like almost 5 years. And now I'm getting back into it via my, I host a variety show every other month here in Los Angeles. And so I do a monologue as part of that. And that was traditionally where I would first do my material. My new material was at these variety shows, and then eventually like put those monologues all together and work on an hour-long set from there.
And how often do you bring like a rubber chicken or some kind of prop on stage with you?
Not as often as you would think. I mean, on stage, I bring one to every venue.
Sure, of course. Yeah,
it
naturally.
Doesn't necessarily
at
get used
least
on
one.
stage.
I know backstage we have a whole trunk usually.
It's the rubber chicken is such a strange thing to me because it's something that we have all accepted as that's like a bad comedy. Like you bring a rubber chicken out. When did that ever happen? I don't know the history of this. I have absolutely no idea.
That's a good
I
question.
feel as though it must have been born like vaudeville, obviously, but it was by the time we came along, it was so baked in that cartoons were making fun of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
What is the joke that you're telling
Right.
with a rubber chicken in your hand?
Just holding it up and like, what do you think, gang?
Is this anything?
You've seen real chickens, right?
Can we spin this off into a movie? So Mark, you've got so much on your plate with Kermit the Frog. I mean, he's such a simple but complex character. Can you tell me anything about like how do you find that character? How do you get into it?
I think Paul and Matt will agree that I found it about halfway through the first reading.
Like literally on stage, like you're the act break and you're like, I got it now.
At the Voice anyway, because I wasn't. It was funny. Not long before we did the first script, the Muppet movie, Matt was like, "Oh, don't do a Kermit impression." And I don't think I was planning on doing a Kermit impression, but when he said it distinctly, it was like, "Well, what am I gonna do? Like, it can't just be me." And it took a long time. It took legitimately on stage at Dynasty Typewriter about halfway through the first show. But I sort of found that without an impression in mind, putting things in my higher register and just being sort of like legitimately optimistic about stuff, kind of gets you a little bit into a world of Jim Henson. Like it. And then there are definitely, certain phrases and things in each of these scripts so far where it's like, oh, put a little sauce on that, put a little Kermit the Frog into into it.
I was no me. I was when I talked to Matt about it, I was relieved to hear that he wasn't looking for impressions,
right?
And because it's like, can you do that for the
2
length
hours
of a movie?
Right.
And what was really fun about it was realizing, we know these characters. We know what they're all about. Kermit is the audience surrogate of all the Muppets. He's the only person who is acknowledging like, this is, you people are a problem. You're all crazy. I'm trying to make this happen and you're not helping me,
Right.
And for Fozzie, it's the same kind of thing of like, I know who this guy is. He's really like, he just wants to be funny. He wants it all he wants people to like him. He's thinking it's always going to go great, and then is immediately confronted with the fact that people didn't like that as much as I thought they were going to like that, and making them the human versions of those characters was really fun. It was fun to kind of embody them if they were people.
I'm glad to hear you say that like part of the key to Fozzie Bear is he wants people to like him. Like that really is everything about his personality is like he's just desperate to be liked or loved or laughed at and does not get it. And I think we can all relate to that on some level. Hopefully not as desperately as Fozzie Bear, but we can all relate to that. Except maybe Kermit the Frog. Kermit doesn't really feel that way of all the Muppets. I don't know, right? Am I making this up? It feels right that he doesn't care what people think of him. He just wants to put on a good show.
But that I think is, I realized that I haven't seen Muppets Take Manhattan, so I pressed play on it a couple of hours ago and am only, two-thirds through. That drive though to put on a show, uh, boy, just relax. That's what is the spur for all of these troubles, like
Hmm.
all of these things of, these road trips and these overseas flights and all this stuff. It's, all of these quests that, so I think it matters to him whether, at least Piggy's happy and how she feels about him.
That's true. That's true. And yeah, and like you said, all the road trips, going to England, getting the Broadway show up. I think that's kind of what we all want from a producer. That like, I don't want to worry about the stuff. You're the guy who's going to make sure whatever happens happens. Right, Matt?
Nice. Nice segue, Joe.
Thanks.
Yes. Yes, that is absolutely true. It's the reason why the shows work so well, in my opinion, is that I have been fortunate enough to find people who think like Mark and Paul do, who look at these characters, who try to strip them down. They're very smart about comedy. They know what's funny and what works. And it comes from a very human place, and it's funny to be doing it as a Muppet, as this wild character, but they are, deep down humans in this really unique way. Their personality types line up with them in every way. So to wrangle all of that, you need people who understand that, or who are at least open to hearing me talk about it for 20 minutes before we go on stage, about how it's not about impressions. It never was. It is about embodiments. And I feel like we've really got a really solid cast that does that. And so the spectacle that we add, all those things that we sprinkle on top of it, by having a live band playing music, by having props on stage, by having once in a while one puppet shows up. So it's just like this kind of wild experience. That's what really makes these Muppety and really, really fun for me.
Puppets.
A couple of notable exceptions to the impression thing. Nina West as Miss Piggy is extraordinary, and David Dastmalchian as Gonzo was hilarious, touching, all of it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a good segue to talk about Nina a little bit, because we've had her on this podcast and she's phenomenal. But tell me a little bit, Mark, about your connection to Nina as a performer, but also how that connection kind of spreads to Kermit and Piggy and your performances of them.
I'm just hopeful that moving forward, Nina begins to commit a little.
Every time I'm backstage saying the same thing, Mark.
Put something into it. Like, people are paying for this. This is for charity. No, from the second I met Nina, it was like, this is going to be a ball. Like, it's a bar raiser too. Like that. The performance, the costuming, but the singing, like Nina elevates everything about this show. There were costume. She'd disappear for a minute and come back in like an even bigger dress, and you're like,
yeah.
The backstage isn't that big. Where was that? Where did you have that?
Yeah.
But no, so much fun, and it's not like it's such an earnest performance. I think what you were saying about Paul with Fozzie, like, it matters to Nina to be Miss Piggy, not an impression, not a send up, not playing it any bigger, but like, it is an ode. Like, it's an absolute tribute to the original, and the commitment and the degree to which she throws herself into it is stunning, and it's awfully fun to be 1 foot away from.
I have absolutely no doubt.
Yeah.
So the two of you, this is not the first podcast you've done together. Am I right?
That's very true.
You guys have worked on a ton of stuff together.
You are familiar.
I was looking at your Wikipedia pages and your IMDb pages before getting on here, and like there's so much overlap, like the Venn diagram of things that you two have worked on together. So for being Kermit and Fozzie, like best buds, does that come across on stage in the same way?
Oh, I think so.
I think, yeah. I mean,
hope so.
I love playing with Mark, and to be able to do this very specific thing together is really fun. It's not something I ever would have imagined happening. I would not have come up with this idea on my own. And so to have this, Matt come along and suggest this. And, when I knew Marc was in, I was so excited. And and it was really the first time we did it. It was such a ball. It was so silly and fun. And, the thing that's really magical about this business is when you do get opportunities that you never would have even come up with on your own. You're just presented with this fun thing to do, and you get to do it. It's, and with your friends, it's like, what more could you ask for?
It's pretty great. Yeah. The Paul and I met initially 20 years ago through a show called The Thrilling Adventure Hour.
Why would you say that out loud? Why would you?
It's our 20th anniversary.
I don't like to hear the number.
If it makes you feel any better, Tough Pigs is about to turn 25. And
wow.
I don't know how to deal with it.
Wow.
Tough Pigs started in 2001.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But we keep saying we outlasted Twitter. We started before Twitter. Twitter's gone. We're still here. How did that happen? Sorry, continue, please.
Just that the Thrilling Adventure Hour is a show that, since its inception, we've sort of referred to as the Muppet Show, because it is, the writing is phenomenal. Ben Acker and Ben Blacker have written it from day one, their real names. It is a live staged production in the style of old time radio, so it feels a lot like the Muppet Show. But it is egregiously under-rehearsed, and has been from the very beginning. So it feels like the Muppet Show, and somebody will be backstage, having a cocktail or whatever, and they're like, you're on in about 4 lines, right? And so, poor Ben Blacker especially has been wrangling us like in the wings, like the Muppet Show. I mean, it's a lot of very talented people. It's also super fun for us. Our scripts are in our hands, and there is no blocking per se. So aside from the occasional song, we don't rehearse very much, never really have. And so it's fly by the seat of your pants, which is thrilling, but also dicey. And so this show feels the very same to that. And to your credit, Matt, you have curated a group around, people like Paul and me from the Thrilling Adventure Hour. I feel like, the entire cast is on board. They don't know what's about to happen. They know, they got the script. They know when they're going to go take a mic. Is it the right mic? Who cares? Doesn't matter. It's so loose. It's so fun. And I feel like, maybe you can talk a little bit about some of the other people that you brought in, because they are like of a piece. Like, it feels like a family already. It feels like a traveling band.
Absolutely, absolutely. I remember I was talking to Hal and Gags, Hal Lublin and Mark Gagliardi, as you guys know, but as some listeners might not. They are our Statler and Waldorf in our Muppet readings, and they are stalwarts of Thrilling Adventure Hour.
Mm-hmm.
I moved to LA about 15 years ago, and one of the first live shows that I saw was Thrilling Adventure Hour, because of how many friends I had that recommended it. They said, you're new in town, you want to see something really cool, really unique, this is where to go. And I fell in love instantly.
That's so great.
Huge part of why is because, like you said, it feels like a Muppet Show. It's always felt that way to me. And so when I was developing this idea, that was the first well I went to, and my bucket was full in 2 days, because everyone that I reached out to, even if we hadn't spoken before, got it, and they got on board with it, and they understood what I was doing. And there was no better base to start off with. I truly believe that the people that are in this show and that are in Thrilling Adventure are some of the best performers anywhere in the world. And
I have to give Matt even more credit. That first reading of the Muppet script, like down to the smallest one-line performer, it was the most amazing collection of performers on stage. You had, the Thrilling people, you had people from Dropout, people from Smosh, like people from all over the place. I was so excited because there were a lot of people that I was fans of from seeing them on other things and meeting them for the first time. And it was really exciting. It was really to see like somebody step up to do, see Ruha Taslimi step up and do New Zealand, or to do the one line that Twiggy has in the in the Muppet movie, you know, it was so much fun. It was so much fun to just watch people go up there and see what they were going to do.
Absolutely. And it was something that just I knew it would happen. Like I couldn't explain it, but I just knew that with this group of people, same like just like with Thrilling Adventure, I feel like Dropout is a great platform that's full of Muppets and Muppet adjacent people,
for sure,
living human Muppets. And so to also reach out to them and to have so many of them on board. Going back to what Hal was saying, he was telling me that at the first read, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, if this is how it felt for you as well. But he said that for him, sitting down in the theater, waiting for people to come in, like Thrilling Adventure Hour, people sat together, Dropout people sat together, some other people sat here. And then by the time we were ready to go, everybody had mingled together and everybody was all just like one big group. And I often say to my wife, I'm like, hey, I get to go see my Muppets today. I get to I get to see my Muppets, and that's so exciting. And just everybody just brings their A game. Absolutely. Ruha cracks me up every time. I make sure that I have fish that she can throw into the audience every time. And I'll tell you this, even if a movie doesn't have New Zealand in the script, I will make sure that I have a spot for Ruha.
Well, this one has a great New Zealand scene where you'll have lots of opportunity to throw fish into the audience. So
in a movie theater.
Yeah. Was there a point, Matt, where you considered doing something like just making this a Thrilling Adventure Hour presents and just kind of letting them cast it and you produce it?
You know, to be selfish, no, because this was an idea that I had for a while. I've told this story before on this podcast, but I'm good friends with Patrick Kotner, who does the Star Wars reads. And so after seeing I think after the first one, he and I had lunch and we were chatting, and I was like, "Do you think like a Muppet version like you and I, we both love the Muppets. Like, do you think it?" And Patrick's like, "Yeah, definitely." And I was like, "Do you want to do it together?" And he said, "I am way too busy for that." And so it was really something that I took and that I coddled, and I was a little precious about. Um, and so for me, having so much of that, as much as I love Acker and Blacker, it really felt like something that came from my heart, and I wanted to be a little precious about it. That being said, I know Acker and Blacker. We've spoken a few times over the years, and if we did something together, yeah, absolutely, I'd do something with them in a heartbeat.
All right. When you get to follow that bird, you'll start looping them in, maybe. Yeah.
Yes.
So, Paul, what is it for you about, like, you're playing Fozzie Bear, you were Mr. Peanut Butter, you were the Dr. I can't remember your bird
Dr.
character. Miggly Mo on Lower Decks. What is it about you playing all these anthropomorphic animals?
I mean, once it happens for the first time, it won't stop happening. And you know, it's a ball. It's really like voiceover is something that kind of, you know, fell into my lap with BoJack Horseman, and since then I've done a lot of it. And again, like, not a thing that I ever really saw happening or tried to make happen. And I'm very fortunate to have been in that world, because it used to be a very closed circle. Like, the voiceover world there was a handful of people that did all of the voices.
Sure.
And then when they started like stunt casting movies and stuff like that with famous voices, which is like, I still don't understand why. I don't think that makes any difference. It's kids. Like, you know, I don't know that kids necessarily have an understanding of who a lot of these people are.
I'm sure it's just so that well, now you can get, you know, like Aquafina to post about it on her Instagram, and
of course,
it's got all that free press. That kind of thing.
Sure. But I'm glad that I was able to squeak in there and get to do some stuff, and that it continues is a really nice and lovely thing. And the fact that it's reaching that it is reaching kids, that really makes me happy, because I was a comedy kid, you know, and the Muppets were a huge comedy influence on me. It's like, it's easy to forget the stuff that when you're little, you know, that had an impact on you. So River Butcher is a comedian a really good friend of mine. I remember in an interview, somebody asked him about influences, and he said Sesame Street. And I was like, oh, of course,
Yeah,
like of course, Sesame Street.
Of
Like
course,
that's
but I
one of
wouldn't.
the yeah,
It wouldn't come to mind.
exactly. One of
Yeah.
the first things you ever see, and it's like one of the things you like about it is that it's hilarious, you know.
yes.
And I was like, wow, that's so true. That really is true. So yeah, for me to get to do anything that not only adults enjoy, but that also weird little comedy kids like too, that's everything.
Sesame Street. Boy, oh boy, I would not have
Yeah, right.
ever. But
Well,
of
you think
course.
about like
Yeah.
Bert and Ernie,
I
who
felt guilty
are
when I read that in that interview.
Bert and Ernie are maybe one of the greatest comedy duos of all time. You know,
Mhm.
and that's going under like Jim Henson and Frank Oz, in my opinion, are the greatest comedy duo of all time. And like you go down to Bert and Ernie, and you think of any Bert and Ernie moment from when you were a kid, from those old days, and they are hysterical still to adults. Forget the educational nonsense; like they're still
You know what?
hysterical.
It's very funny though to revisit Bert and Ernie as an adult, and how much Ernie is a real problem. And you sympathize with Bert. Bert's trying to live his life. And this guy is a lunatic, and he's practicing the trumpet when it's bedtime and all that stuff. Like Bert, I really judged him so harshly when I was a child.
I remember as a kid, my mom actually hated Ernie because of how much she bugged
Hated.
Bert. She really did. She was like, I don't like that Ernie. He's
I
a
don't like the
little
cut of his
much.
jib. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's totally true. Especially, yeah, you're right. The older we get, especially because like, I do feel like I'm aging into a Bert. You know, I like my collections. I like a good book. And when I was a kid, we all thought we were the Ernie when we were a kid. We all were, you know,
Yeah,
we
we
like
all
being
were.
goofy.
Kids
Yeah,
are
right.
Ernies. Yeah.
Kids are Ernies. Yeah, Matt, you made a face. Were you not an Ernie when you were a kid?
Oh no, I was an Ernie. I don't
Oh,
know if my
okay.
mom
I had
liked
a
me though.
feeling.
So
Well,
had a
we did not
I'm
surprise.
realize
just thinking about that now.
what we did not realize as children is that Bert and Ernie were trying to teach us this is how you make your parents feel.
Yeah.
Bert is what you are doing in your life is you're making your mom and dad into Bert.
That's right. Yeah. Just stop eating crackers in bed. It's not that hard. Common logic. So well, this is also a good opportunity to talk a little bit about, you were talking about the your influences, or the Muppets influencing young comedians and writers, and the Muppets must have been a large influence to you. I just have to assume anyone who's of a certain age who's in the comedy world was raised on Muppet stuff. So aside from like Sesame Street, when you were Sesame Street age, like were you big Muppet fans when you were kids?
Oh man, I remember when the Muppet Show was a new show, and I was a kid, and I was ecstatic because I did love Sesame Street, and the idea that there's going to be a whole show of this where I don't have to learn anything was very exciting. I can just enjoy this on its own. I don't have to be getting anything out of it. Great.
I loved it as well. In my mind, it was on Sunday nights. Is that true?
Well, it was syndicated, so it was different in different
Okay.
markets. Mhm.
I feel like it was something that it was a treat before the end of the weekend and school came back into play kind of thing, where I grew up in Buffalo, New York. And I don't think I would have uh, realized the degree to which it was a part of my life, but I must have loved it so much that I was given either for my birthday or Christmas Fisher Price puppets of Kermit and Fozzie that I played with a ton.
I
Like,
had them too.
did you really?
Yeah.
I think
Fascinating. Yeah.
I'm gonna zoom my camera up. I think if you can see right there, there's the Fozzie.
Mhm.
There's one of the Kermits
There they are.
from that set.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Amazing.
everyone
Yeah.
had them. Yeah, they're beautiful pieces, and
I
They
love that
really
you still have
were.
those.
yeah, still
They're
are.
really well made.
I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of people listening to this podcast might know this story, but I'll tell it to you guys anyway. So when they were making those Fisher Price Kermits back in the day, the Fisher Price was like really struggling to figure out like how are we gonna get the right kind of fleece, the right color, the right texture, and they were trying a bunch of different things, and they weren't finding it. So they went to the Henson Company and they said, "Can you give us any tips on what to look for?" And Henson said, "Well, just order from the same place we do." And so those Fisher Price Kermits are made of the same fleece that they made the Kermit puppet out of.
That's really cool.
wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you want to know what Kermit
Neat.
feels like, that's it. Just
That's
get one of those.
Wow.
Maybe don't. I don't know. I was gonna say like if you want to know what Kermit tastes like, but those are old toys. Don't put your tongue on those.
I have a question.
Yes. Is it about
Watching the
licking a
Muppets
toy?
Take,
That was a bad. That was a weird segue. Yeah, go ahead.
are there any stats on running tallies on how many Kermits there have been, how many Miss Piggies they've been? I'm thinking about it because I just watched the scene in Muppets Take Manhattan when Joan Rivers puts makeup on Miss Piggy, and it's like there were multiples because like Joan Rivers even kind of cracks up a little bit when she put on the eyebrows. Like it feels like she's being candid and saying, I think I went overboard.
Yes.
Feels like that's to Frank Oz, not to Miss Piggy.
Great question. And here's the thing: I don't know if there's stat. There might be, and I would love to investigate this of like how many there are. And there often are, just like any prop for a movie. Like you got your hero, you got like especially with like someone like Kermit, where you got to have him in different costumes.
Sure.
It's easier just to have multiple than have to dress and redress him. Um, for that one in particular, for Joan Rivers and Miss Piggy, like they had rehearsed it, and there is a point of no return. Like that is one take where they
Yeah.
get
Is it
that.
really? I didn't catch
Yes.
that. Okay.
Yeah, they don't do that one multiple times. And so Frank Oz, not only is he playing Miss Piggy, he's also directing the scene.
Directing. Yeah.
And the story he tells is like they're rehearsing it and they're just not getting to that point. And he knows like you really just you have to get there. You have to earn it. And so he told someone, they're right by the they're doing filming it at Bergdorf Goodman, and so they're right across the street from the Plaza Hotel. And he tells someone, go over to the Plaza Hotel, go to the bar, get us a couple of gin and tonics. And so they bring back a couple of gin and tonics. He and Joan Rivers have a nice time, and they're having a real nice time as filming that scene, and it comes across.
It does.
It really does. It is.
It's
manic.
playful, but it feels dangerous. Like,
Yes.
it's like you get one take at this. Yeah.
Yeah, and I often wonder that whenever I see something like I think about it a lot with Muppets getting wet, and like some Muppets you can get wet. Kermit, you could probably wring him out; he's fine. Big Bird, not so much,
Right.
Yeah.
And I would hear stories about like they're at the end of the season, like they know they're not filming anything anytime soon. Maybe even there's another Big Bird in the works or different pieces of the Big Bird. And they go, "This is our chance. We're throwing Big Bird in the pond."
Yeah.
My wife, when she was little, loved Big Bird, and a mutual friend of ours, of Mark and Jamie Bressler, who works with the Muppets.
My
Muppets
friend
a
as
lot.
well, actually.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. The last time I saw her in New York, she gave me a couple Big Bird feathers that fell off of Big Bird that I was able to give to my wife. And it was I was so touched by it. I like, it feels sacred. You know what I mean? Like
It really is.
to be holding this piece of this iconic creature from your own mythology, and not just the mythology of the world. And to give it to her, and she was ecstatic.
That is incredibly cool.
Yeah.
It's proof that they're real. And you don't get that with any other kids TV show. You don't get that with a lot of what you see. And I have a Big Bird feather that I hold dear because I wrote a YouTube video that starred Carol Smitty and Big Bird. I don't know if you've seen Big Birdman. It was a parody of the Michael Keaton movie Birdman.
Oh, you know what? I never did see that, but I remember when that happened. Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote that, and I remember we're filming it, and there's a part where we go outside, just like in Birdman, and we're going down the street, and I'm like way behind. You can't see me. I'm on camera or anything like that. But the wind blows, and a feather pops off a Big Bird, and it's going down the sidewalk, and I chased it. And like knowing like I can get a Big Bird feather somewhere else, like I'm here, but
you could
that
probably
one,
just ask.
yeah, right, exactly. Or well, whatever. And then and I'm thinking like, but that one, I saw it come off a Big Bird, and it came off today on this thing that I have the privilege to work on, and that is now framed on a bookshelf right now.
That's
really cool.
Yeah, really beautiful.
Yeah.
Mark, which Muppets do you think would make it into the good place, and which ones would make it into the bad place?
I mean, cards on the table, mostly bad place.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like there's not a world in which Animal makes it to the good place.
Sorry, buddy.
Him, screaming woman and chasing people.
That cinches it, right?
I forget about that.
Those
that
are
first
negative.
scene in the Muppets Take Manhattan, where he's chasing that poor lady out of the theater, and it's like, that's it, man. Do whatever you want to
That's
do
it.
for the rest of your life because you know where you're going.
It was a
Um,
different time.
It was a different time.
Boys will be. Anyway, um, I feel like Kermit's a real good candidate for the good place. I feel like Miss Piggy's probably got some accounting to do. Um, Beaker, good place all
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, right.
Um, uh, what's his name? Scooter.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
he feels like a good place, candidate as well. I think that he's lived a good life. Fozzie's probably the Jason Mendoza of it all.
Yeah. Right.
You know, he's not the brightest bulb. But yeah, I feel like Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem, I feel like, sorry, there are going to be some butthole spiders.
What did he do? What did Dr. Teeth do to get the
You
butthole
know
I don't
he's
know.
done
spiders?
something.
Something.
Yeah.
You know they've all done something.
Just too many nights on the road.
That's
Yeah.
true. Anything could have happened on
Yeah.
tour. Yeah. So schedules allowing, I just assume, Matt, that you're going to end up doing Muppet Christmas Carol. So if so, and if you're available, are you both in for Christmas Carol script reading?
I would love to do it at some point. Yeah, for sure.
Who would you cast as your dream Scrooge for that show?
Wow.
I mean, living or dead? I don't even
Sure.
remember.
Give me one of
I don't
each.
even remember who it was, but like, I had forgotten like what a good foil Charles Grodin is to a Muppet.
Oh,
Oh, sure.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
the best.
I mean,
The
have you
best.
seen the Muppets at Walt Disney World?
Mhm.
It's a wonderful special. I genuinely don't know why it's not on Disney Plus. And it's one of the last things that Jim Henson worked on. And it's a promotional special for Walt Disney World, but it is just the Muppets messing around. And they brought Charles Grodin back as the foil for that one. So if you want more Charles Grodin and Muppets, that's
I'll
a
check it
great
out.
watch.
Is that the only way you can see this? Go to Disney World?
No, it's not at Disney World. It was the only way to watch it is illegitimately. You gotta find it on YouTube or something
You got a
because it's
BitTorrent?
nowhere. It's because it's obviously Disney World and the Muppets, and there's some Indiana Jones stuff in there and a little bit of Star Wars stuff in there. At the time, 1989, 1990, like they
Wow.
didn't own any of those things, and now Disney owns
Yeah.
it all. There's nothing stopping them.
Good for them.
You really love to see those scrappy underdogs make it, you know?
Yeah.
I love when a corporation's dreams come true.
It's
Just
true.
good decision after good decision.
Yep. And yet, those good decisions did not lead to anyone legitimately getting to watch Muppets at Walt Disney World. We have to go behind their backs to see Charles
Um,
Grodin.
I'm going to pitch J.K. Simmons as a Scrooge.
Oh, like
Very
a
good.
Whiplash, J.K. Simmons.
That's what I mean.
Really
Yeah.
letting him have it.
I was just in Detroit with him for a fundraising thing, and we saw a couple of Tigers games together. And he's just a delightful human being, but he plays toughies real well.
Oh yeah.
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 They should give him an Oscar.
I got a sort of left field idea. Steve Buscemi.
Ooh.
Say more about that. Why Steve Buscemi?
I just picturing him. I guess I'm picturing him talking to the actual Muppets.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's really making me
that's what
laugh
it is.
when I
You're
think
right.
about it.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
But for a live action read, like, I who knows the part better than Patrick Stewart,
True.
Sure. Yeah.
who can do all the roles because he did a one-man screw.
He doesn't need the Muppets.
That's right. He didn't. Yeah.
But the Muppets need him.
Can you imagine doing a Muppet Christmas Carol reading and it's just Patrick Stewart? Like
Yes.
doing not just the roles,
Doing
but
Kermit
all
and
of the Muppets? Yes.
You know what? I could imagine it.
I would pay so
Patrick
much
Stewart's
money.
Miss Piggy is something I would attend for.
Well, he does a lot of Shakespeare, but I don't know if he does any Bacon. So
Oh, Matt, you gotta go.
That's not bad. I gotta give it up. Gotta give it up.
So you're both obviously huge improv people. Mark, I know you do a lot of work with, you have to remind me the name because I didn't write it down, the Detroit Improv.
The Detroit Creativity Project, yes.
Thank you, the Detroit Creativity Project.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we're a nonprofit that's been around for 12 or 13 years now, and we teach improv free of charge in Detroit middle and high schools. and have expanded into community centers and things as well. And it's something that was born of, just a bunch of us from Detroit, Keegan Michael Key and Sam Richardson and Tim Robinson and Mary Beth Monroe and Jamie Moyer years ago saying, hey, we should give back to the city of Detroit that gave us all our start. What should we be doing? And almost embarrassingly quickly, it was like, well, improv is what made all of our lives better. Like not only as a skill set, as a career path, but it's just such a confidence building, friend making, empathy driving, fear erasing life skill that that everybody should do, whether they have any hope of being an actor or a comedian. Like it's good for everybody. So much so that we've taught it to like the police department and to businesses and things. Like it's just a really wonderful thing. But the Detroit Creativity Project is something about which I'm very proud.
Sure, for sure. Yeah. And it's a great cause, and you're absolutely right. I mean, it's such a great skill just to have for everything you do in life. So with all the improv that the two of you do, and you're getting into a script reading performance where it doesn't seem like there's much room for improv because you're literally reading the stuff that's on the page. Where does the improv come through in something like this Muppet script reading?
It really is the interpretation of the lines and the delivery, and because not only are we not doing impressions, you also don't want to just do the exact same cadence. You want to make it something a little bit new and something your own, and also you're transforming it from this creature to now a human being standing there on the stage. And so how would I say this without the aid of being a wild looking creature that does not exist? And also, trying to, all I ever want to do is break Mark. That's all I ever want to do. So trying to come up with some line reading that he just absolutely does not expect is my only goal.
Have you tried bringing a rubber chicken with you?
Yeah. And I know that that's what he's going to do. I know that's what he's thinking about. And the anticipation is almost worse than death itself. And it, of course, because Paul's very good at what he does, it comes in the most unexpected places. And it's like, you asshole. Like, oh no, like, I'm about to sing this song right now. And, like, yeah, it's, we've had, years and years, 20 of them on the Thrilling Adventure Hour of that dynamic. And so when Matt was like, would you like to play Kermit? I was like, oh, I don't know. Like, that's big shoes. And then he was like, Paul's playing Fozzie. I was like, okay, yeah, I'll do it. Yeah.
The weird things that we sign up for just so we can hang out with our friends.
100%.
Yeah.
I will say that because these things are loose and whatever, I think that there's room for improvisation because mistakes happen, lines get missed or whatever, and there's that sort of thing. It also it feels as though it's mandatory that Bobby Moynihan make at least one line filthy somehow.
At least one.
Yeah, it seems that he likes to, pick his battles there as well. But also the audience reaction, because it is a live show in front of a live audience. There are just things that are unexpected. There was in the script for the Great Muppet Caper that we just did, I'm forgetting the exact exchange, but there are like 4 or 5 lines in a row that Kermit has that are pretty tough on Miss Piggy, and the audience was not into it. And they're like, oh, like, we thought Marc Evan Jackson was a nice person. It's like, and I truly, like, I don't mug very much, but I like showed them the script. Like, I turned the script and I was like, I'm reading what's on, like, you saw the movie.
Yeah.
Like,
Jim Henson
it's been produced.
Yeah.
It's canon. Yeah.
This has got to be the scene where they're arguing in front of the pond, right?
That's the one.
Yeah. Try to play one of your emotions right, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
One of the things that I really love about script reads is, because people have different approaches to them. And like some people, like Bobby, likes to throw in extra lines and stuff like that. Like, he reads what's on the page, but then he also like throws in some ad libs and everything. The thing I really love to do is read everything verbatim, but just how am I going to read it? So I have not added anything. I am just trying to take the lines on the page, make them my own, make them funny without changing anything. And I like the challenge of that. It's really fun. Yeah.
And I respect
very
that too,
cool.
because for a lot of fans, this is like religious canon. Like
Right.
you don't
Sure.
mess with it. You know,
Yes.
there's a way that it was done,
Yeah.
and then that's what we've been worshiping for our entire adult lives.
It also, I think, depends on what character you're playing, because somebody like when Bobby was doing Doc Hopper, it's like, yeah, you can throw in a line here or there, you know what I mean? But because he's not as beloved to you as the rest of the Muppets are. It was a live action character and all that.
Mhm.
So it's like, yeah, why not have fun? And for some of the other characters, it's like, no, I really want to hear this line the way it was written.
Yeah.
And you kind of sense that. You kind of know when that's happening, when it's like, no, I got to do this one the way it says, because
It's important.
people want to hear it that way. They want to hear that line. Yeah.
Yeah,
Bobby
true.
added an additional R to the word frog.
Frog.
Frog. And it was funny every single time.
Yeah.
It was funny every single time.
It's
Yeah,
hysterical.
it was.
Yeah.
Last question for you guys. Do you have a Muppet dream project that you would love to work on someday? Like a blank check to do something with the Muppets. What would it be?
I don't know that I do, but I will say that Matt inviting us to come do these has opened my eyes to, like, my goodness, what wonderful intellectual property, and what an interesting world for to explore, and the fact that it's still around, and that sort of thing. I'm going to think about that, though, about what a dream project would be, because it's multi-generational, it's four quadrant, like it's awfully fun. And to revisit these movies in preparation for these live shows, for these staged readings, you think, like, boy, they put these guys on bicycles a lot. Like, that can't be easy.
Right.
Shouldn't, some of the things you're like, oh, that's a gigantic cheat that they're doing there. But then it's like, but I'll forgive it because they were on bikes 10 minutes ago. Like, 8 of them were on bicycles. Like, how do you do that? Yeah.
So Breaking Away would be yours?
It would be Breaking Away. Breaking Away. My goodness, I've not
You
thought of
play
that.
the Paul Dooley role. Everyone else is Muppets.
My goodness. Deep
I
cut.
got to work on a show with Henson puppets and puppeteers called No You Shut Up. It was
No, you shut up.
You can't say that on a podcast, Matt.
Matt, that had
We don't
that
want
had
people
the
to shut up here.
That had the feel of someone who knew this show was going to come up.
I've been waiting for 12 years, Paul.
And that was such a marvelous thing to see these people do this thing, like make these puppets come to life, to where you would swear you saw expressions on their faces. You would swear you saw light in their eyes, it's really a magical thing. But I've never met an actual capital M Muppet. I've never encountered one, and I would do absolutely anything. I would love for that to happen. I mean, I can't imagine what it would be, but that would be such a wild thing. I can't even imagine. Yeah.
Well, they're working on a new Muppet show now, so anything's possible.
I heard. Yeah.
So what
exciting.
you're saying to me, Paul, is your Muppet Dream Project is No You Shut Up season 2? Is that
We
it?
did more than one season. I mean,
Season 3?
just because it was short-lived.
What kind of Henson fan am I that I don't even know how many episodes of that show there were? Not a clue.
I think we did 4 seasons. I think
There
we
were
did
4 seasons of that show?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It was a topical, news parody program with puppets, and we were canceled just before the 2016 election.
Wow. What a
Which is a
time.
great time to take a political show off the air.
Good God.
Paul, what was the show called?
It was called No You Shut Up.
Matt.
No, you shut up.
Yeah. Here's a little bit of trivia. I think I was at some of the very earliest performances of the Henson Puppets Puppet Up.
Yeah.
Because
Great show.
early in my career, before things got moving, I stage managed like crazy here in town at the HBO Warner Brothers Television Workspace, and then the Comedy Central stage. But then I stage managed at the Aspen Comedy Festival, which later became the Las Vegas Comedy Festival. And in Aspen, in the basement of the Jerome Hotel, or I guess the St. Regis, they did a full run during the comedy festival of Puppet Up with Patrick Bristow and all the folks. Brian Henson was there, and to see the workings, how they tool up with the headbands and the mics and the monitors and the one arm raised over the other, like it's an absolute physical endeavor to be a puppeteer, and it was fascinating to get to know them a little bit. And then of course there's something in a very Bobby Moynihan way, there's something very gratifying about seeing puppets be filthy.
Yeah, for sure.
Matt Wilkie, can you please remind our good listeners how they can tune into the Muppets Take Scripthattan?
Excellent. Yes. Yes, Muppets Take Scripthattan is on Friday, October 24th. We're going to be producing it live from the Bell House in Brooklyn. Tickets are sold out, so we are pushing our live stream tickets, which are great. We have partnered up. It's a really interesting partnership that we've done for this. So we're filming it live at the Bell House. The crew from the Dynasty Typewriter, where we normally perform in LA, is coming out to film it.
Oh, wow.
And then we're going to live stream it through a company called Veeps. So Veeps.com is where you can get your live stream tickets. Just look for Muppets. If you just type in Muppets, we'll come up. You don't need to do Scripthattan. And it's a great website. They have it's a really cool centralized hub for live comedy and live music. They have a lot of concerts on there. I do recommend, if you're checking out our page, you might want to get the subscription because it's $15 for the show, but it's $20 for a subscription. And then you can see everything they have, and they have some really cool stuff. I just watched they did like a live version of the Garden State soundtrack, and they have that up on there. So like Zach Braff and Natalie Portman appeared, and they played like the whole soundtrack with all the real bands live. It was really cool.
Oh, that's cool. Wow.
Yeah.
Marc Evan Jackson, is there anything that you want to promote or any social media you'd like people to follow you at?
I would love for people to check out the Detroit Creativity Project at dcpimprov.org or detroitcreativityproject.org. We're doing good work. It's never been the goal to create the next generation of comedians and actors necessarily, but to create the next generation of fearless iterators and problem solvers and good communicators. So please check us out, detroitcreativityproject.org.
And Paul, is there anything that you'd like to promote or any social media you'd like to tell people about?
Yeah, just real quick hosting tip. I would always put the person who's doing a charitable organization last. Because
are you telling me that you don't have a charitable organization that you work with, Paul?
I sure don't, and
and never will.
I never will.
Learning a lot about you today, Paul.
I only take. I have as I mentioned, I have a variety show, and it's called Varietopia. We're finishing up our tour next month, or in October, depending on when this goes out to people. And you can go to varietopia.com to get all the tickets. We also live stream the show from our home base here in Los Angeles. The next one is in December. But yeah, go to varietopia.com, get all the tickets. It's a really fun time.
Wonderful. Well, Marc Evan Jackson, Paula Tompkins, and even you, Matt Wilkie, thank you all so much for being here. Can't wait for the show, and I think everyone's going to have a really great time with it.
No, you shut up.
Fine.